Sharp Game here, coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com off of Love Can't Wait. And I got a question from somebody that he's thinking about moving to Japan, and he wanted to know if African American men and Japanese women, are they compatible? Are African American men and Japanese women compatible? Well, I don't think no one shoe fits all. No, there's not one Japanese girl that's compatible. I don't think all Japanese women are compatible with all African American men. I don't think one shoe fits all. I don't think it's that type of deal. I think you have some people you hit it off with, and some people you don't. That's just across the board. But what I will say is, now, if you're going to Japan because of the women, maybe you think the grass is green on the other side, I think you're going to be sadly disappointed. Because I always say the grass is not green on the other side. The grass is different on the other side with a whole new set of problems. And sometimes I don't be wanting to deal with all them damn problems. The grass is never green on the other side. I know it's a lot of people online that's telling people that you should just jump ship and other women are better. I don't think there's any absolutes when it comes to that. There's no absolute. It's like, I don't think all white women are better, all black women are better, all Japanese women are better, all Thai women are better. Yeah, there's no absolutes when it comes to anything. But here's the deal. I'm going to tell you my experience. Because I lived in Japan for almost 4 years. And I still go to Japan on vacations. And I still know people in Japan to this day. So here's the deal. Now, if you're going to live in Japan for a long time, or if you're planning on getting a job over there for a couple of years or something like that, I think it's a good idea to learn the language. Because, there's a language barrier. People in Japan, they go to school to learn English, just grammar. They don't really learn how to speak English. They don't really speak English to each other. The only time they'll try to speak English to anybody else is if the person is a foreigner. But Japanese people don't speak English towards each other. They just speak Japanese. And they'll go to school and learn the grammar and take tests, and they'll do fine. But when it comes to speaking English, they can't. They're just, most Japanese people are just not that good. It's kind of weird. I mean, Japan is a first world country. Very modern. Tokyo, to me, it reminds me of New York City. But, and another thing you have to keep in mind, once you learn how to speak Japanese, you open yourself up to a new demographic of Japanese women. And this is something that I didn't know when I first went over there. The most attractive Japanese woman doesn't speak any English. So if you learn how to speak Japanese, you you can get into those circles because there's a small demographic of women that's willing to meet foreigners, right? And they speak English for the most part. They speak English very well, and a lot of these women have traveled, and some of them haven't. But the deal is, a lot of these women aren't how should I say this? They're not really wanted by Japanese guys because a lot of these women are over the age of 25, and once they go over the age of 25, they're not desired by Japanese guys. So a lot of these women know that the clock is ticking, and there's a lot of pressure on Japanese women to get married early. And Japanese guys, they're not desired very much over the age of 25. And when they get in the 30s, they really not. Japanese guys is not touching that shit, touching these women in the 30s. He's going to have to be 45 or 50 for that to happen. But for example, a Japanese guy that's 30, he's not going to fuck with a 30-year-old Japanese woman. It's very rare. It's very rare. The pickings is slim for her at the age of 30 in Japan. So that's why a lot of them try to meet foreigners in Japan because they know the pickings is slim and they start getting nervous. You know what I mean? And they're not desired once they get past the age of 25 and in the 30s. And they're not the most quality women either. It's like my experience has taught me that the most quality and the most attractive Japanese women don't speak no English. And they live far out. They usually don't live near the bases. Usually live in Tokyo or small little town way out. You know what I'm saying? Places that foreigners don't go. And plus, family is very important to them too. And the mom of the family is like the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? She usually makes it her business to try to see who her daughter or her son is introducing into the family or whatever. And there's different types of Japanese people, different types of Japanese families as well. Now, I say that because a lot of times, if the family's well off, like financially, that family is going to have a different way of looking at things compared to a family that's just working class and hasn't traveled very much. Now, sometimes that can be a good thing and bad thing. But what I would say is family that's traveled or well off, they're usually a lot more relaxed, because I've met a couple, maybe 2 or 3 families while I was in Japan, and 2 of them didn't go so well. One of them went well, and I noticed that the family that went well, they were very welcoming to me. They were, they traveled, they been to the States, and the daughter, she went to school in America, so she kind of knew how it was in the Western world. And another thing, if the girl hasn't lived in America or in any Western country, um, it might be a problem because a lot of Japanese girls, unless they live, I think this is just my opinion, unless they live in in a Western country, sometimes it's hard for them to understand certain things, especially when the holidays come up, because they might make a big deal about the holidays, and you won't, you know. So it's kind of hard for them to understand. Uh, it might be hard for them to understand where you're coming from when it comes to certain things. And it's just and a lot of times it depends on how she was raised as well. And one good thing about Japanese women is they don't play a lot of games like they do in the Western world. Most women in the Western world, it might take you 3 to 6 months to a year to decide if you really want to stick with this woman long term, right? Not in Japan. These women usually show their hand real quick, so you'll know if she's controlling, possessive, uh, supportive, or not so supportive, or if she's a control freak, whatever. They usually show it real quick because, like I said, it's a lot of pressure on them to get married. So you don't really have to waste a lot of time trying to figure out who you're dealing with probably within the first 2 to 4 months. If you see her put it like this, if you see her every week for 3 months, you pretty much have a good idea what type of person you're dealing with. You know, because if she likes you, she's gonna be wanting to come over and see you, and she might even be wanting you to come over. You know, so as you spend time and you talk and do whatever y'all do, you pretty much have a good idea what type of person you're dealing with. And another thing, when it comes to being in a relationship with Japanese women, the longer you're in a relationship with them, the higher the expectations tend to be. And this is where, remember when I said I think a lot of Japanese girls should stay in the Western world. Sometimes where it could be a good thing and a bad thing. This is where I think a lot of the problems are coming at, because some things y'all bump heads because it's a language barrier. Plus, she's probably used to living a certain type of way or whatever, based on her culture and everything. And you're used to living from living a certain type of way based on the Western culture. And a lot of people usually have a hard time getting over their differences amongst each other, because the guy that's from America, he's trying to get his point across, and she's trying to get her point across. But her ideas and the way she was raised is set in stone. They don't usually bend very much. You know what I'm saying? Most Japanese women, they don't usually bend very much. If this is how they are, that's how it's gonna be. She's not gonna really do anything outside of what she's been doing, unless it's something brand new. But if she's been doing something for 20, 30 years of her life, 9 times out of 10, she's gonna keep doing the same shit. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to talk her out of that shit. And this is where the rubber meets the road. And this is why a lot of couples break up, because they can't find common ground, because she wasn't she's never lived in America or any place the where Western culture exists. So she can't adapt. She can't get around the hump, so to speak. You know, and that also depends on how she was raised as well. So it's I think it can be a challenge for some guys that's going from America to Japan, and there is a such thing as some people call I guess you can call it brainwashing too in Japan, because they have uh, they have they look at television, and so a lot of them are on social media as well. Now they don't utilize the internet as much as we do in America or in any third world country, but they still be on there. So they see a lot of the girls have uh, they believe in a lot of the stereotypes that they hear about and see, and they listen to a lot of the stuff that they friends talk about, even though it's not all of it's not true, because everyone have their own experience, but they kind of get sucked in to a lot of those stereotypes. And if you stay around them long enough, 9 times out of 10, you'll be able to tell. But these women tend to speak English, right? And they're not that so much desired. And a lot of these Japanese guys, they don't want these women. And and it's something else that you might not realize even. There's some Japanese women you're gonna meet that's gonna be just like a lot of American women. They talk too much, they're combative or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's some out there in Japan. It's gonna be some out there. You know what I'm saying? The grass is not green on the other side. There's some Japanese women will run you crazy too if you let them. You know what I'm saying? So most Japanese guys, they don't put up with that shit at all. Most Japanese guys are very traditional. They don't buy into the Western world way of thinking and living. Really, they do what works for them. What's been working for hundreds of years, really. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but if you learn to speak Japanese, you open yourself up to a whole new demographic. You can, because if you speak Japanese to a woman, that's a turn on to her, because she look at it like, if you took the time to learn how to speak my language, you're there's something special about you. That's how she sees it. And plus, you can get into those circles that the average foreigner coming over there from America or Europe or Australia or wherever, they can't get into, because they can't speak. Even though you're gonna see some more people that's gonna be speaking Japanese as well, but it's gonna be much less people than it would if you didn't know how to speak Japanese. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think you you have a good time, but it's not as easy as you would think, because as far as meeting Japanese women, you it's very difficult to meet Japanese women like at the store, at the gas station, on the street. No, meeting Japanese women on the street, that's like forbidden. You know, that's like they don't do that at all over there. I mean, you can. I mean, if you're lost at the train station or something like that, I would say find the most attractive Japanese woman and ask her for directions. Now, you can probably uh, get into a conversation like that, but if you're just trying to meet a girl on the sidewalk, that's very difficult, you know. But and stay away from the base neighborhoods, because those girls around the base uh, pretty much been ran through. Not all, but a lot of them pretty much been ran through, and just like most bases, though, it's not just Japan. Most bases, just worldwide, that neighborhood around the base, the local girls have pretty much been ran through anyway. And so they're not really desired by the guy by the Japanese guys. My thing, what the one thing that I wish I knew is I wish I knew in the beginning before I went to Japan. I wish I knew that I wish I knew that speaking Japanese was a good idea. And I wish I knew Japanese culture. I wish I knew how the Japanese guys think. Because my philosophy is if the Japanese guy don't do it or don't accept whatever that may be, don't you accept it either. And have some respect for yourself. Don't go over there and be thirsty. Don't go over there and just take anything. Just don't take the bottom feeders or the bad apples. I mean, whatever type of girl you decide to settle with or get with or meet or approach, just make sure it's top quality. You always want to strive for the best and strive to do your best. So, that's about it. That's about all I can tell you about as far as Japanese girls and being compatible and all that shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying? No one shoe fits all, but it's just depends on who you meet, how she was raised in the family, and all of the above, man, So, if you like what you heard, subscribe to my channel and leave your comments and ask me any questions if you would like. And check out my blog, chooseyourrelationships.com. Until next time, Sharp Games out. Peace.